The sun illuminates the concrete building of big corporation. Lin Yi's coworker said he was fed up with everything and wasn't going to take it anymore. But immediately his box of work stuff was thrown at him. Manager Yu Lily shouted for Lin to get out. Lin Yi takes the box and complains about the injustice. He took his job seriously, but he still got fired because he didn't make a gift for his boss. He gets a call on his phone from his girlfriend Liu Cixi, and he tries to say what happened to him. But Liu interrupts him and informs him that they are breaking up. He's surprised. Liu Cixi tells him not to come to her birthday party and not to call her at all anymore. Lin can't believe it. Liu Cixi had been with him for so long and he was still a loser. She said goodbye and hung up. Lin is resentful. He was fired and dumped by a girl on the same day. He's riding in the elevator. Suddenly, a beautiful girl, Lin Wei, appears in front of him and greets him. He has gotten into the system of all professions, and Lin Wei is his servant. He is the master, and he can try out a new profession every week and get the top award afterwards. Lin Wei will help him become world famous. Lin Yi rejoices and can't believe that this is the same legendary system. Luck is on his side again. Lin receives an open envelope with an offer to receive a package of rewards for taking up the driving profession. He is happy that with this condition he can now work as a driver for the rest of his life. But Lin Wei informs him that this profession is only for 1 week. But he is happy about it, as it is possible to get a lot of money and at the same time engage in different professions. Lin Yi accepts the offer. The system girl informs Lin that he needs to go to the Bandao Hotel. She takes out and gives Lin the key to the Pagani probe car, which is waiting for him at Chaoyang Corporation at location number 22. He receives a message about the placement of his car on his smartphone. He is registered in the system as the owner of the machine. He goes down to the second floor of the underground parking garage. Lin can't believe it. It seems like a dream to him. There's a car in front of him with the hood open, and a beautiful girl is looking there. It's the general manager, Su Qingyan. Lin Yi sees that this area is for the big shots. The car won't start. Lin Yi asks that Director Tsu's car has broken down. Z recognizes him as an employee from the sales department and informs him that he can't start it. Lin Yi offers to give the director a ride. Ziqing agrees and thanks as she has to go to the construction company and is already late. Suddenly a guy appears nearby and embraces Director Qingyan. He says that such a petty employee can't have a good car and suggests it's better to give her a ride himself. Qingyan gets angry, steps aside, and tells him not to come over and grope her. Li Yunheng smiles and agrees to keep his distance, but still insists since he just bought a new car for 20 million recently. Lin Yi tells Director Li not to worry and that he can give Qingyan a ride. His car is on 22nd place. Li says that it's probably old, and Director Z will only look ridiculous in it. But Z doesn't care about that. She's leaving Principal Li. All she cares about is that Lin Yi's car is on the move. Suddenly, Qingyan and Li Yunhan stop in amazement and can't believe their eyes. They ask if Pagani's $30 million car belongs to Lin Yi. Lin quite puts his hand on Pagani and tells Director Z that it's his car. Perplexed, Li scolds Lin that he doesn't even know how much it's worth. Lin Yi pulls out Pagani's car key with his right hand. He opens the door and invites Director Z to get in, and Li says that driving his such a cheap car and molesting Z with it is too presumptuous. Li Yunhan is upset as he wanted to get himself this car but couldn't afford it. Now Li excuses himself, asks for forgiveness, and to let Lin's brother already sitting inside Pagani to give him a ride. But Lin rejects him. Li is not worthy to even sit in that car. Pagani leaves the parking lot abruptly with the wind, and Li tries to hold on to his open jacket. Qingyan is wearing a black seatbelt inside the car. She can't believe that such a car could belong to Lin Yi. After all, he is just an ordinary sales clerk. But Lin Yi laughs. He's actually from a wealthy family that just has an ordinary lifestyle. Lin is going to be the driver, and happily informs him that Director Tsu will now be his first passenger. She rejoices and takes it as a great honor. Director Tsu turns on her smartphone app that her travel reservation has been made. Lin Yi drives Pagani up to the construction company's office. Qingyan stands satisfied outside the car. She leans over to Lin and shows on her smartphone that the payment for the trip has been made. Director Z thanks Mr. Lin. She joyfully walks away and waves goodbye to him with her right hand. A girl of Lin Yi's Lin Wei system appears behind Lin Yi's left shoulder, winks at him, and congratulates the master for successfully completing the first order. The girl rewards him with 5,000 skill points. Lin Yi's driving career is 5% complete, and he receives a reward of 50 million yuan in his account. Lin Yi stares happily at his smartphone in his right hand, happy that he has earned as much as 50 million for fulfilling his order. Bandao Hotel. It is a 5-star hotel, which is one of the few famous best hotels in Shanghai. The protagonist's ex-girlfriend, Liu Cixi, puts her hand on Yun Chie's chest and tells him that many celebrities have come to this hotel for weddings and suggests he celebrate his birthday here as well. Yun Chie agrees. A private room in Bandao only costs 7,000,002. Liu Cixi happily hugs Yun and wishes she had met him sooner, but Yun Kie turns around and unhappily notices Lin Yi. Liu Cixi is perplexed. He is a loser to her. She reprimands Lin Yi not to even think about her returning to him by coming here. But Lin Yi calmly replies to Liu not to flatter herself, and he can come to this hotel just to spend his money here. Isn't this just an ordinary hotel? Yun Kie smirks. This is a 5-star hotel, not an ordinary place where a person of Lin Yi's status could enter. Liu Cixi yells at the hotel for his guards to kick Lin Yi out and calls him a beggar. Several serious athletic men dressed in classic black suits immediately run into the meeting. Yun Kie gloats with his arms crossed on his chest. If Lin Yi doesn't leave on his own, he will be pushed out by the guards then. But the guards bow and greet Lin Yi, calling him master. Yun Kie and Liu Cixi shriek in frenzy and bewilderment. Liu can't believe how this ordinary clerk from the finance department can be in a management position in a hotel. One bent-down guard suggests that Lin Yi go to the assembly hall to get a report from the guards first. Lin Yi agrees. Liu Cixi is angry and can't believe she missed out on a rich guy. At this time in the meeting room, a clerk is carrying a large stack of thick folders to Lin Yi's desk. These are the financial statements that he is being given to read. On the left side of the desk is a small plaque that reads, General Manager. Lin Yi sits confused. He says he doesn't need this. He trusts his workers, and for them to continue working at the same pace as before. In the assembly hall, someone knocked on the door. Lin Yi allowed someone to enter. A distraught girl runs in and tells Manager Wang that a customer from 1704 intends to complain about them, and they can't stop him. Wang asks what he wants to complain about. Lin Yi, meanwhile, ponders. Yesterday, a customer wanted to rent a Mercedes car and applied for it, but it had already been taken by a VIP. The problem is that the customer doesn't want to rent another car, so she intends to go complain. Lin Yi gets up and leaves. He instructs to deal with the documentation, and he will fix the current situation himself. The principal knocks a couple times on the door of room 1704. Gu Zishu's girlfriend opens the door. Lin Yi greets her and introduces himself as the director of the hotel. He tells her that their company will organize everything properly and make sure that Gu is satisfied. The customer is surprised at how handsome the man in front of her is. But for Gu Zishu, it's not that important anymore. She is ready for another machine to organize. Lin Yi happily exclaimed that the customer could take his Pagani then if she didn't mind. But the customer embarrassingly refuses, citing that she doesn't have enough money to rent it. Besides, she has heard that this type of car is different from ordinary cars, and she is not sure that everything will be fine. The joyful principal pulls out the key to Pagani and offers to drive Li Jin himself to wherever she needs to go. It looks awkward for her, but Gu is in a hurry, so he asks Li to wait while she changes her clothes. Gu Zishu takes off his clothes. Lin Yi holds a glass in his right hand as he waits, but is delighted to see the silhouette of a customer changing clothes. Gu comes out wearing high-heeled shoes and a beautiful dress with a big slit on her leg. She is ready and calls Lin Yi to come with her. In the spacious hallway hall, Liu Cixi pulls away from Yun Kie and says that he better leave since Lin should be coming out soon, and Liu doesn't want Lin to think anything bad. Yun Kie got angry and blushed, clenching his teeth. He calls Liu's name and shouts out that Lin Yi won't even look at Liu Cixi now. Let him keep his pocket wider. The girl next to Cixi asks if there's really any chance of getting Lin Yi back after she dumped him, but Liu is sure of their feelings, and that if she pushes her pity, he will definitely forgive her. Her friend is jealous of her, because she won't be able to find someone like him in her life. But Liu cheerfully reassures her, and takes her for a ride on the Pagani after the reconciliation. Suddenly, Liu notices a happy Lin Yi and a beautiful girl in a long dress coming down the stairs from behind. Liu Cixi blurts out who this girl is. Isn't she his secretary? If he needs it, Cixi will help with all his business. The girl on the left is pondering. Lin Yi looked at Liu Cixi suspiciously and angrily asked who she was. Liu cries and asks, doesn't Lin love her anymore after so many years of relationship? How could he forget their love? Because even if this beautiful woman has a better body, she still doesn't have as good skills as Liu. But Gu Zishu exclaimed happily, why would Liu think that her skills weren't as good? After all, Lin Yi had already praised her for being better than his ex-girlfriend. Lin Yi touches Gu Zishu's bare back with his fingers. He cradles her and tells her that not only is she skillful, but she's also soft. If Liu they have nothing else to say, then they will go. Liu reprimands Lin not to go after all they have been lovers for so many years. Doesn't he still love her? Lin Yi is angry. Why can one love Liu Cixi? Is it because she is vain and deceitful, or that she is ugly? To be honest, Liu's figure is also so bad. Liu Cixi will never be Lin Cixi now. Let her get out of his sight. Liu Cixi falls to his knees with his head down. How come? In the parking lot area, inside Pagani, Lin asks Gu where she should go. Liu Sisa needs to go to the Qinshiu Hotel, where her classmate is celebrating his wedding today. She apologizes for stressing Lin Yi out, but Lin says it was no big deal. Liu helped him on the contrary. At this time, the Qinshiu Hotel. There are several dressed-up girls standing in front of him. One of them is nervous why Gu still hasn't arrived. After all, her boyfriend is rich and should have given her a car to be on time. Zishu told them that her boyfriend gave her a Mercedes, but the third girl said not to listen to all this bragging because her social circle doesn't have such rich people. All these girls have rich boyfriends, but they don't see anyone like them taking her with them when they go somewhere. So Gu must be just bragging out of envy. Suddenly, a new Pagani brakes sharply in front of the girls. Zishu has started dating a rich guy who drives a Pagani. Gu asks that now Lin Yi will help her too, after she helped him with his former relationship. Lin Yi ponders. Lin shouts loudly from the car for his dear Gu to have a good time at the wedding, and her friends hear it all. That same evening in a residential area of new buildings. At the house, the mom snatches the phone out of the hand of the person who says their roommate paid the same rent for those 10 days. Then why bother? The girl Zhang Jingjing says to wait a few more days. There is no need to rush Lin Yi right now. Wu Jinlan's mother is angry because Lin Yi might have already escaped, so you can't rely on someone like him too much. Zhang was going to become a civil servant, but she got mixed up with such a dubious man. There was a knock at the door. Zhang greets his brother Lin. Lin Yi tells Aunt Wu that he's moving and just came by to say goodbye. He will leave after he packs his things. Wu Jinlan's aunt is furious. How can Lin leave without paying the rent for the apartment? He can't dare to ditch her. But Lin calms Aunt Wu down and says she got it wrong. He'll pay all the rent for the apartment and pulls out his phone. Tae-Yu's phone receives a notification that 4,000 yuan has been deposited into her personal account. Aunt Wu is surprised. The rent is 2,000 yuan. Why did Lin transfer so much money to her? But Lin apologizes because he always delayed his rent payments. Aunt Wu asks why Lin Yi is moving so suddenly, if he has any new plans. But Lin Yi replies that it's nothing special. He won't starve. Zhang Jingjing helps Lin Yi's brother carry his things. Aunt Wu follows them. She wants to make sure Lin doesn't steal anything. They go outside. Aunt W notices Pagani and asks, "Whose beautiful supercar is that?" Wu Jinlan asks, "Where's the Xiaoli brand car belonging to Lin Yi standing?" Lin replies that his previous car broke down and he bought another one. He opens Pagani and tells Jingjing to put things in the trunk. Aunt Wu can't believe her eyes. Doesn't Lin work as an ordinary employee? When did he get so rich? But Lin Yi responds behind the wheel of the supercar that since all masks are dropped, he admits that he himself comes from a wealthy family. Lin Yi leaves and Jingjing says that her mom used to dislike him when he was poor, but now Lin is rich, so Jingjing... Aunt Wu interrupts Jingjing to stop her from talking nonsense and takes her by the ear. Lin didn't deserve her before, and now she doesn't deserve him. They go home, as Jingjing still has homework to do. The manager of the Bandao Hotel informs his master Lin that a presidential suite has been prepared for him. Lin Yi agrees and tells him to take his things to the room and prepare food. He has had a long and hard day today and is starving. Lin Yi is tightly stuffed and holds his hands on his bloated stomach. This 5-star hotel makes very good food. A message arrives on his phone from Qing Yan, the director, that she will be free soon and asks Lin Yi to meet her. Qing Yan is standing at the main entrance of the construction company. Lin Yi replies that she'll be there in 30 minutes. Lin Yi pulls up at Pagani and tells Director Z to start by making a travel reservation. Tsu, sitting in the car, doesn't understand what order. Ordering a private driver. After all, if Qing Yan doesn't make him, Lin Yi will have to live a life of starvation. Director Z agrees. Director Z thinks Lin Yi has Pagani for 30 million, so he must be in the top company in sales. But now Lin Yi has been fired. Then it is clear why he asked to place an order. But Zi Qingyan can't understand how such a serious person could be fired. Perhaps something unusual has happened and it can be found out later. Director Z reports that she sent the order on the phone. Lin tells her to take the order now. Lin's girlfriend Lin Wei appears behind Lin, but she immediately calms him down and informs him that only he, her master, can see her. Lin Wei rates the girl sitting next to him a 4+ and calls her very beautiful. Lin Wei congratulates his master on receiving a second order for a driver and starting a system assignment that involves transporting 2 girls at 4+. Lin Yi is rewarded with 10,000 skill points and achieves a 50% completion rate on the assignment. Lin Yi asks, what do girls have to look like to get a 4+ grade? Lin Wei playfully replies that girls like Zi Qingyan. Director Tu asks, when will they be checking out? Lin looks like he has bigger problems than her. Lin asks what kind of problems she has. Did something personal happen, or is it work-related? It's work-related. Her company is going to give a launch presentation. but none of the 5-star hotels are available. Director Z doesn't know what to do about this problem, but Lin Yi says she can give her presentation at the Bandao Hotel. Maybe it will fit. Qingyan says not to joke like that, because Bandao is a top-class hotel. They can afford it in terms of money, but it's almost unreal to book something there. Lin Yi replies that life is full of surprises. Just as they met by chance today in the parking lot, perhaps she will have a pleasant surprise waiting for her if she comes to this hotel. Qingyan is ecstatic since he says so. Let him turn around and take her to Bandao Hotel. All right, Lin Yi takes a sharp turn at his Pagani. But Qingyan warns Lin Yi that if they still can't get a deal for a place in this hotel, she won't pay for the trip. Lin Yi asks, what if they can? The director asks, what does he want in return? If Tsu does get a deal, she has to do 10 deep squats. She asks, what are those? Lin Yi tells her to Google it. Z discovers that it is such a physical exercise. Director Z ponders that since she has already called the hotel, and the manager clearly told her that all the places there are occupied, she can accept without risking anything. Tsu agrees. Squats, so squats. At the Bandao Hotel, at the front desk, Director Z introduces himself to a female employee and asks to speak to their manager, Wang Qianlong. The employee greets her and invites her to go to the lobby. She will be reported to Wang Qianlong. The employee thinks it must be the boss's new love, whom he met again pretending to be poor. She's much prettier than the former one. Wang greets Tsu and apologizes for not meeting such an esteemed guest in person. Z talks about her company Chaoyang and their intention to give a presentation. She asks if there is room in their auditorium anytime soon. Lin shows Wang a sign of agreement. Director Z is hesitant and thinks she is not important enough to be allocated a place in such a popular hotel. But Wang agrees to arrange a reservation on any day that suits her. Tsu can't believe it and thanks Wang. Her presentation is scheduled in 10 days. Wang agrees to give her his full support. Qingyan thanks Yin and says that he seems to bring her luck. Thanks to him, things turned out completely differently. Lin says now not to worry about it and fulfill what he promised. Why is he still saying this to her? Qingyan is the president of the company, and of course she will keep her word. Lin Yi puts Z in the seatbelt. She is perplexed since they are in the car and can do squats at home. Lin says they can do it in the car too, if Tsu likes it here. Tsu's legs are stretched forward. She complains that she's too cramped here and would rather do it at home. Lin agrees and gasps at Pagani. Tsu can't understand why there could be so much trouble over squatting. Yunshui Cottage. Zi Qingyan is confused and asks if she should do squats now. Lin Yi says now and soon, as he still has some business to attend to. Qingyan has never done this before, so let Lin not complain if she fails. He happily agrees. Tsu is wearing high heels. She is squatting in a short skirt. Lin can't hold back from laughing. Zi Qingyan is very embarrassed. Suddenly an angry man appears at the door and yells, "What are they doing here?" Tsu and Lin Yi are caught off guard. Qingyan is at a loss. She asks what is her father doing here. All three of them are puzzled. Her father says, where else would he be but here? Qingyan calms her father down and tells him that the man is her new yoga instructor. Meanwhile, Lin Yi thinks her dad has come at the worst possible time. The father is angry. He says he understands perfectly well, and yoga instructors don't just watch from the sidelines. They're always on standby. But Tsu convinces Dad that he is a highly qualified yoga instructor, and he only gives verbal instructions. But Dad doesn't want to believe it. Qingyan needs to step aside for Dad to talk to him. At this time, Lin Yi is thinking that he could use a yoga instructor at all, if only there was a career as a fitness instructor in the profession system. The angry father sits down next to Lin Yi on the couch. He asks what his name is and what he does in life. He replies that his name is Lin Yi and he is a cab driver. Dad can't believe it. The driver had to drive some sports car to get his daughter's attention. Lin agrees. He really does drive the clients around in a sports car. That rare Pagani car out front? Dad says Lin Yi is better than those majors who just spend their parents' money. He can trust his daughter to Lin Yi. Lin Yi feels like he's on a reality show. Qing makes the excuse that they don't have that kind of relationship at all. Father replies that he no longer understands the youth of today. Dad invites the two of them to Qingyan's grandfather's 80th birthday party, and for the rest of their family to meet Lin Yi. Dad says they can move on as if he wasn't even here. Papa Tsu Qingyan walks away from them out of the room. Qing says her father got it completely wrong. Lin Yi leans Z on his back and rests his hands right above her. He says it's even better this way. He offers to continue. Qingyan doesn't understand what to continue. After all, they have been misunderstood. Lin Yi touches Z's inner thigh with his hand and says that he saw her muscles tense up right there when she squatted. Tsu yells at him not to touch her and sets his hand aside with his arm away from her. Lin says that is indeed true. Squats emphasize that particular muscle group. Zai can't understand. She thought Lin meant something else. In Lin Yi's right pocket, his phone rings. He gets a message that after he leaves the company, his colleagues are very sad about it. so they invite him to a graduation dinner in Ipinzu. Lin walks away from Z and says he still has things to do. He suggests she meet him next time for the remaining 9 squats. Tsu tells him to go away, the rascal. At this time in the restaurant, the girl at the table invites Lin to sit down beside her. She has just made room for him. Wang Ying, a former employee of his, says she didn't expect him to be fired, because with that level, he could have easily become a sales manager. Huang Yue chuckles. She doesn't know what she's talking about. He himself is no worse, for one. Why did she even think that this position should have belonged to him in the first place? But Wang Ying defends Lin Yi, saying that he has much more achievements than Huang, and the director's position was right for him. Huang Yue sneers. What good is that if he was fired anyway? In addition, Huang hears that Li Jiangdong will soon be appointed director and offers everyone a drink to that. Dong refuses because Lin Yi is the main character that night, and he doesn't want to take responsibility. Lin Yi suspects that these two are not here to see him off, but only to show off in front of him. Li says Lin is wrong. They're really going to celebrate his dismissal. What will he do in the big city now? Shouldn't he go back to the village? Wang says Lin is an orphan. He doesn't even have a home, so there's nowhere to go back to. The employee raises a filled glass for a toast and says that they only know each other relatively well. Li Jiangdong suggests that we all have a drink together, but Lin refuses, citing that he's still working as a driver today and he may have orders. He's not allowed to drink. A hall worker appears in the room and asks visitors who is the owner of Pagani Probe. Lin Yi responds, "What's the matter?" His former employees look out of the hall to the street and notice the car. Pagani is really beautiful. It seems to be worth more than 20 million yuan. The worker informs them that Pagani is obstructing the passage of other cars. It needs to be moved. Wang taunts Lin by calling him a redneck. Why does he respond to Pagani? It's not his old car at all. But Lin Yi pulls a car key out of his pocket and says that Pagani just happens to belong to him. Dung got excited. He can't believe how Lin could have such money to buy this sports car. After all, he is an orphan. Lin doesn't understand. Can't orphans have money? That's a bit short-sighted. Lin suggests that Wang Ying take her home, as it has gotten kind of boring here. Ying agrees. They are about to leave. The former employee asks them to wait. Jiangdong calls Lin master, grabs his hand, and tells him not to be in such a hurry. Lin turns out to be no ordinary man. How could Dong not see that before? He apologizes, but Lin snatches his hand away. He should have thought earlier. Lin Yi leaves with Wang Ying on Pagani, and his former employees watch them from the window. Pagani Zonda is on the road, traveling down the night road, and can't believe she is inside this rare supercar. Wang Ying is surprised. She has worked with Lin for so long, but didn't know he was so rich. Lin replies that it's just an inheritance and he doesn't usually brag about it to others. Wang asks if it's true that Lin is a driver. Lin is satisfied. He says he didn't lie to her, and could she make reservations for this trip on her smartphone? In agrees. She can't say no. Suddenly, the system alerts that the total rating of this passenger is only 84 points. Such a number is not suitable for the requirements of the task. Lin is indignant. He thinks Ying is beautiful. Why can't the system add a point to him? Lin is surprised by these conditions. There must be something to resolve this somehow. Ying notices Lin's stunned expression, asks what's wrong. Lin asks if Ying knows any way to increase a woman's charm. Ying replies that it simply means making himself more riveting. Lin wants to know how this can be done. Wang Ying pulls out black stockings from her yellow bag and puts them on. Long black stockings are on Wang Ying's legs, above her knees. In crossed leg and stockings and looking away looks elegant and beautiful. Lin is impressed. He wants to scan again to see the total score now. Now the system reports that after the new scan, the passenger's total score is 85. This is enough to pass the task. Career is 15% complete. Lin receives his reward. The Juzhuge Villa need to contact the sales manager. They drive up to Wang Ying's house. Pagani Zonda brakes sharply and reports that she is home alone now and they can have tea together while her husband is away on business. But Lin says he has more to do, maybe next time. Wang Ying is sorry. Ying gets out of the car, waves, and says goodbye. Jiu Zhouge's sales department. Lin goes inside. Zhang Mingyue's former colleague asks Lin Yi, "What is he doing here?" Lin replies that he needs to meet with the manager to get the title deed for the property. Zhang is surprised. Zhang is trying to push him out of the building so he won't cause trouble. The real estate in this company is worth at least 800 million yuan. She thinks Lin can't afford it. But she is asked, what is he doing? Wang Hui's manager waves Zhang off to stay put. Next, Wang will do everything herself. Wang Hui presses his hand to his side and clarifies, "Is he the same Mr. Lin?" She introduces herself to Lin Yi and asks what is the best thing for them to do first. Should they go to the house or familiarize themselves with the situation? Jian grabs the manager and says not to waste time. He's an orphan. Can't afford any villa from them. Wang Hui is indignant. Zhang is talking nonsense. Let him better count the salary in the human resources department so he can't see it. Zhang is at a loss. She knows what she's talking about and asks her to believe her. The manager takes these words as nonsense. Wang Hui herself knows that Mr. Lin has already purchased 9 villas from their company, and Zhang claims that he is her colleague. Zhang falls to the floor in amazement. She can't believe the 9 villas. Lin Yi thought that there was only 1 villa, not 9. He loves the system. Wang Hui apologizes to Mr. Lin for this behavior of their employee. She's just been under too much pressure lately, which is why Zhang isn't quite herself and is making him so uncomfortable. But Lin doesn't care. He says she's already gotten hers. The formalities should be finalized by now. Lin Yi asks him to give him the documents of his ownership of the villas. Wang confirms that everything is indeed ready. They bring out all the titles and keys to him. Lin Yi puts the documents in his supercar. A message arrives on his phone that Yi Yu Lily and Li Jiangdong have been fired from their jobs. Lin Yi can't believe it happened so quickly, right after he left the company. Lin asks Principal Tsu if she fired them. Tsu is surprised that the news got out so quickly. She just wanted to know the reason he was fired, and thought it would calm him down. Lin asks about her plans for the sales manager position. Tsu wanted to give it to him, but Lin refuses, because he is already earning well, and recommends to pay attention to Wang Ying. Tsu writes that her car is still in repair, and it should be taken to the company. Lin willingly agrees to serve her. The profession system notifies that if Lin completes the task, he will receive 5 stars, a reward of 200,000 points, and profession completion by 25%. They arrive at the office of Director Z's company. Lin reminds Tsu to give him a 5-star rating for the trip. Tsu interjects. Does he really need it? He confirms. Qingyan then makes a condition that for that, they will cancel his punishment with the remaining squats. Lin approaches Qing closely. She asks what is he doing. Lin Yi replies that under this condition, he will do without the 5 stars. Lin reminds him that there are exactly 9 squats left and not 1 less. Tsu calls him a lad. The seatbelt unbuckles. Tsu Qingyan steps out of Pagani and tidies himself up. Wang Ying notices Principal Z and Lin Yi together. Lin Yi excuses himself that he just happened to see Director Z's cab order. Wang Ying suspects something. Wang Ying recalls the dismissal of the 2 staff members, and that they didn't speak to her. She reflects on the director's connection to Lin, and worries that she too is now doomed. The director calls Wang to go with her and not to forget her job. Ying obeys. They go to the company together. A notification arrives on Lin Yi's phone. He received a 5-star rating. Lin comments about Zai that she has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Lin Yi's phone receives a message to order a cab with a destination of Tianyi's house. Lin Yi notices that this house is not that close to get to at all, but he agrees to take the order. There's an incoming call on the phone. The customer asks if the driver is the one she came to see and how old is he. Lin Yi replies that he is. The customer asks to do her a favor, to have Lin Yi pretend to be her boyfriend, and for that she will give him a 5-star rating for the order. Lin Yi gladly agrees. He pulls up to Tianyi's house. Knock on the door. Lin Yi greets a customer. The client turns out to be popular blogger Xia Xinyu. She is amazed, and compliments Lin Yi that he is very handsome. The woman in the house asks if he is Xia Xinyu's boyfriend. Lin confirms and gives his name. The man cheerfully blurts out that this young man is quite handsome and asks what he does for a living. Lin Yi replies that he works as a driver. The parents interject in indignation. But Xia excuses Lin and says that this kind of work is quite lucrative now. He is the one who bought her all her jewelry and is going to start his own business in the future. My father can't settle down. He says 9 out of 10 businesses go bust. Xia reminds her parents not to be late to meet their friends. They agree. Xia Xinyu says Lin will drive them and she will go to the mall with him. But Lin apologizes, as he only has a 2-seater car. His parents think he came on a moped. All of them go outside following Lin. The father scolds and yells at his daughter how could she be with a guy who rides some moped. The mother is afraid they will be laughed at. Lin pulls out the key to his new supercar. The father is dumbfounded. He sees a luxury supercar. Xia can't believe that the car belongs to Lin. Lin confirms and invites me to sit down. Her parents push her up so as not to keep Lin Yi waiting for long. The driver asks which mall to take her to. Xinyu needs to go to Times Square. She admires the car. Xia has one more request. She's a blogger and would like to go live in this car. The driver doesn't mind, but they agree that Xia will give him 5 stars for the ride. Xinyu takes selfies of herself and asks viewers to guess where she is now. The viewers learn that Yu is riding in a car, and not just any ordinary car, but the new Pagani Zonda. The viewers like Lin, calling him the handsome man of rich parents. They ask how Yu will pay off Lin. Xia is embarrassed and flirtatious. She just booked a driver through the app, but she thinks to herself that she might have agreed if the handsome man had asked her to pay in some other way. They arrive at Times Square. Yui reveals that she gave the driver 5 stars for this trip and says goodbye to him. Lin Wei congratulates the driver for successfully completing the task. and he gets 200,000 points for it. His career is 35% complete. Lin wants to be rewarded with the China International Circuit and driving skill. The system ponders. It's the best track other than Abu Dhabi Raceway. Lin Yi calls out to Xinyu and asks her to help him choose a new phone. Xia agrees. Xia shows Lin the cell phone store to Yali. They're going inside. Lin Yi chose to look at one phone that has a lot of memory. Xia advises it's better to make a purchase from an online store. It can be much cheaper there. Lin still wants to make a purchase right away at the store. It's not like they came here for nothing, and strokes Xinyu's hair. The salesman brings out the packed phone and suggests that he now choose a proper case for it. After all, his device costs as much as 10,000 yuan, and protection would not hurt. But Lin refuses. He feels uncomfortable with them. The salesman smiles, but still wants to let Lin Yi choose the case by color. Lin resents it, he repeats. He doesn't need it. If anything happens to his phone, he will just buy a new one. He asks to take 5 of each color and pack them up. The salesman is very surprised. Altogether, it comes out to 20 phones. But Lin points to the computer next to him to have it counted as well. Xia Xinyu can't believe how much money Lin is spending in front of her. Meanwhile, Xia Xinyu had over 5 million viewers on her live broadcast. 5 times more than the previous ones. In the comments, they write that showing off wealth is the best hype. Xia has a lot of activity on the broadcast, lots of comments and gifs. The blogger asks if Lin will still be buying anything. Lin ponders for a moment. He decides to go out and buy a watch. They go inside a store with a clock. The salesman turns to Li's sister to go meet the customers. But Li says not to hurry, as he sees that the girl is filming live, which means it's only wasting her time on them. The seller says blogging is making good money right now, but Li's sister doesn't quite think so. They are a Vacheron Dun company, which means that only really rich people can afford their watches. The salesman fully agrees with what she says. Lin Yi and his companion approach the clock counter together. Xia looks at the watch models and can't understand such a big price on them. Lin Yi asks the salesman to show him one of the watch models, but Li chuckles and says that this is only possible after making payment for them. Xinyu is puzzled. How can you buy yourself a watch without even looking at it? A rich full man and a girl walk into a watch store. He has a large expensive chain hanging around his neck. He calls out to the staff. A man and a girl are eager to buy. Li greets her acquaintances, Mr. and Mrs. Lin, and remembers that she hasn't seen them in a long time. Li asks how she can help them. There's a gorgeous shiny gold watch lying on the pillow. Mrs. Lin lights up and asks to give her this particular model of watch for her birthday. Li praises mistress for her good taste and informs her that this is a new model. This whole process is meanwhile being watched by Lin and Xia. She is filming them on her broadcast. On the broadcast, viewers write many approving comments and praise this watch brand. Lin Yi expresses resentment to the staff. He argues that they are exactly the same customers and should all be treated equally. Li arrogantly apologizes, citing that they provide services according to the customer's status with them, and hopes for their understanding. Lin doesn't calm down. He says that means whoever has the most money is the one they flirt with the most. Xia calms him down. People in stores of this class are usually just big snobs. Li says to say thank you already for even just letting them in. The Patek Phil brand would have kicked them out a long time ago. Lin Yi angrily walks out of the store and drags Xia behind him, saying that there are other stores. In front of them is a Patek Phil watch store. They are greeted by a nice friendly girl and asked how she can help them. Lin is not very knowledgeable about all this and asks her blogger companion for advice. Xia is also clueless, but she can try asking her viewers' opinions from the live stream. The on-air viewers advise Lin to buy a Model 175 watch. The salesman is shocked. What are they thinking? On Xia's screen, there are several comments from her fans. They say he doesn't have money for a watch like that, even though he drives a Pagani and has bought several cell phones for himself. Xinyu isn't comfortable for this. She doesn't want to anger Lin and says she can block them, but he replies that there's no need. Let them observe. Lin Yi demands to be shown the 175 model. Several sales managers are shocked. They can't believe it, and they ask him again, does he really want to buy them? Lin pulls out a credit card, why not? The salesmen are all laughing. The fact is that they don't have this model of watch in stock at the moment, or even in stock. They have to ship it from Europe. They offer to have it delivered to his home. Xia doesn't understand how one model of watch is not available in such a large store. The salesperson replies that there are only 6 such pieces in the world, and only one was in China, and now they are out of stock. Other workers can't believe it and run to quickly find out who it is that bought a watch worth more than 10 million yuan. Manager Li of Vacheron Dun clarifies, Model 175 Patek Phil? They're thrilled at how cool Lin is. Li can't believe it's him. Lin Yi and Xia Xinyu walk out of the store satisfied. Manager Lee Friendly wants to stop Mr. Lin and offers to let him see some nice example PRs in their store. Another female employee also invites them in, but Lin angrily refuses them, for his status is not enough for their store. Lee yells after them and excuses herself for just making a mistake. Manager Lee sobs. She can't forgive herself for how many commissions she missed out on because of her mistake today. Lin holds out a box with a new phone for Xinyu. He says he made her mess around with him and apologizes to her. Sia thanks Lin for having a good time with him today. Sia is positively impressed with Lin. He's both loaded and a gentleman. She imagines how nice it would be if he were her boyfriend. Lin stands in front of the entrance to China's international driving range. At the front desk, he is refused admission as they are expecting a VIP client today. But Lin Yi introduces himself and asks for their manager. He is not here as a visitor, but on business. The employee greets me with a friendly request to wait. The door opens. An indignant Chin Han comes out. Why was he called? He said to clear the area of unauthorized visitors. One of the female employees calms him down and tells him that he came to talk to Manager Zhou. Zhou quickly escorts Lin Yi to the second floor so as not to anger Mr. Chin. Lin Yi asks who he is, that he closes the entire driving range just for himself. The employee is surprised that he doesn't know him. This is the famous Chin Han, and few people in Zhonghai would dare to cross his path. Manager Zhou is informed that Mr. Lin has come to see him. Zhou greets Mr. Lin and asks why he didn't call him. He would have prepared a meeting with the team to receive him. He sends Zhao to bring Director Lin a glass of water. Zhao is surprised, she interjects. Zhou Haitao reports that Lin bought out their driving range, and he's now the boss here. Haitao points to a huge stack of folders of papers. These are company files, and suggests that Lin familiarize himself with them. Lin replies that he trusts him, and he can continue to work as usual. If there are any problems, then he can contact him. And he himself asks to be escorted to the racetrack. Zhou agrees. He assumes that since Lin bought out the driving range, he must like driving, and offers to give him a couple of laps around the track. But Lin refuses, saying he'd rather have some race car driver. They both look at the track. There are several cool sports cars speeding down it. Chin Han is angry at Zhou. After all, he booked this place, and he brought some outsiders here. Zhou excuses himself and tells Mr. Ching that he misunderstood. Director Lin is the sole owner of this driving range, and he came to inspect his property. Chin Han and the people around him can't believe it. Lin Yi instructs Manager Zhou to take the outsiders out so he can do a few laps around the track and give the outsiders their money back. Chin pulls out his pack of cigarettes and gives Lin a light. So far, no one in Zhonghai has ever allowed themselves to treat him like this. Han offers to take a lap with him, on the condition that the loser leaves. Lin draws out his cigarette and agrees. Chin is called the god of cars, so to keep his rival unafraid, he gives him a 10-second head start. Lin agrees to 2 laps. He wants to try out his sports car. Chin looks around and wants to see Lin's car. He wants to reassure Lin and says he can trade his car for another less good one. Pagani Zonda pulls out. Chin Han can't believe it. Lin says it's not very expensive, but it must be better than his. And does he think his Pagani is too posh for him? Chin denies it. He spent over 3 million on tuning his sports car, which should be in no way inferior to his Pagani. The large winding track is ready for competition. It has white markings, with areas of green turf all around. 2 cars are at the starting line. The girl starts the countdown. Start! Both cars start abruptly, sparks under their wheels. The 2 sports cars drive alongside each other, but Pagani starts to get slightly ahead of Chin Han's car. Chin Han is displeased and scolds. He can't believe it. Zhou and the others are watching the race. Mr. Qin is slowed down before the turn, while Lin is preparing to enter it. One of the fans doubts. Such turns are difficult even for professionals. One little miscalculation, and you're dead. Lin outpaces Chin on the turn. He was able to enter the corner at high speed. Pagani Zonda pulling significantly ahead. Fans can't believe their eyes and call him crazy. Pagani finishes first. The girl rejoices. Her boss has won the race. Chin Han affably recognizes Lin's clean victory and calls him his idol. Chin Han can't understand why Director Lin's car started faster than his sports car, even though it doesn't have any tuning. Lin gives advice to Han. He started wrong. He should have pressed the clutch 4,000 revolutions per minute to reduce the engine power and then change gear. Chin is delighted. Lin is really a professional. He suggests that they exchange contacts on WeChat. Lin approves and does the forwarding. The route from Yunshui Villa to Zhongtan is determined on the phone. Lin Yi informs Zhou that there will be another day. In the meantime, let the boys have fun at his expense. Chin Han wondered, what is Director Lin's rush? What other things does he have to do today? He says he works as a driver and he needs to fulfill an order now. Let them continue to have fun for now. Lin Yi pulls up to Yunshui Villa. He answers Sis Zi and tells her that his car is there. The door opens. He arrived at her place so soon that she didn't even have time to pack. Lin brings his index finger to her lips. Lin Yi says he can do it slowly too. She replies, since that's true, then let him wait for her inside. She suggests that he watch some movie while she dries her hair. Lin Yi agrees. He sits down at his desk and stares into his open laptop. He yells at her that some letter came in the mail. Tsu replies that it's probably from work and that he should just ignore it. But Lin sees that it's not a work-related letter. He reads in it about the black lace dress that was sent. Lin informs Director Tsu that he seems to have noticed another letter of some sort. Tsu immediately runs barefoot out of the bathtub. She wants to stop him before Lin can open the letter. Qingyan runs barefoot into the room. She blocks his gaze with her own, pulling Lin aside. A hand pulls at the edge of his clothes. Tsu becomes high on tiptoe to avoid falling. Fortunately, Qingyan is the steady one. Qingyan is embarrassed and looks at Lin Yi. Lin Yi holds up her robe. He can't believe it. He saw her bare breasts. Qingyan yells and snatches his clothes from Lin. Lin contentedly teases that he was about to inform her about the usual spam and she's already run out. Z runs away and doesn't want to hear anything more. A beautiful hairpin with bright sparkling stones. Principal Z comes out dressed up in a beautiful short black dress. She is going to go to the homecoming party. Lin Yi really likes the dress, saying it's perfect for both the beauty pageant and the squats she still owes him. Qingyan strokes it and says, remembering perfectly well about her remaining 9 squats. She asks him to close the curtains, after which she does. Lin Yi closes the curtains. He did everything and sat down comfortably on the sofa. Qingyan is standing in front of him at full height. She's wearing high heels. Yan looks directly at Lin Yi and flirts with him. Tsu touches his chest with one hand. Qingyan does squats, which she should. She's in high heels wearing a short black dress. Z says she has fulfilled her promise. Now it's time for them to go to Zhongtang. Lin asks him to wait for him while he goes to the restroom. Half an hour later, Lin comes out. He is blooming and smelling. Tsu asks why Lin stopped. He replies that he saw a familiar face. Is it possible that Lin here knows someone? He's being sarcastic and says that he just met this person yesterday. But maybe Z knows him better. A man and a woman enter the room. That's Mama and Papa Tsu. They stand across from each other and stare. Dad smiles and is the first to start talking. He asks if they are done yet. Qingyan is puzzled. She asks when did they have time to come back. Father replies that it wasn't that long ago. They saw the curtains being drawn and didn't dare to enter. Her mother calls her silly and says there's nothing to be embarrassed about. It is a normal adult need, and they understand. But Qingyan excuses herself. It's not what she thought. Z was just changing clothes. Mom sneers and replies that she understands that the two of them were just changing clothes together. Dad wants to leave with Mother and says they are superfluous here. She agrees. The mother greets Lin Yi. He is no longer a stranger to them, and will have to come the day after tomorrow for Z Qingyan's grandfather's birthday party. Lin Yi agrees, with Z standing behind him with his fingers of his hands folded. Their parents are abandoning them. Lin Yi asks Principal Z if she's going. She agrees, but is greatly embarrassed. Pagani pulls up to the Zhongtan Hotel. Lin Yi opens the doors and asks Z to get out. He reminds her to give him 5 stars for the trip. When she is free, have her order again, and Lin Yi comes to pick her up. Principal Z is angry. Lin Yi only knows how to speak well. He'll do anything for a good review. But Lin replies that it's his job to do that. Lin says if there are any problems, have Tsu call him. The all-profession system, in the form of a cheerleader, congratulates Lin Yi for reaching the 100 kilometers mark and credits him with a reward of 200,000 skill bonuses. His career completion rate is now 55%, and he receives 21% of Baba's company shares. Lin is excited. He wants to know if he can become a boss if he gains more mileage. This company is headquartered in Yangcheng and has a market value of over 50 billion. If Lin Yi decides to sell his stake, he can earn 10 billion. Lin Yi put his arm around the girl's shoulder. They're smiling together. In this situation, with that income, he doesn't have to do that at all. It would be better to just keep them and receive large million-dollar dividends in annual interest. Lin Wei System reports that Lin Yi's driver career completion rate has reached 55%, and if he advances another 35%, he will be able to start a new career. However, Lin Yi may receive more generous honors if he finishes his career at 100%. Lin Yi excitedly promises to continue to fulfill the orders. The driver gets a new order on his phone. He needs to go from Starbucks to Jujuge. Lin is on the road again. As he finished for the day, he would go straight home. A passenger in a beautiful dress, Xu Yang, is standing outside a Starbucks waiting for her cab. She looks at herself in a small mirror. A black Pagani Zonda pulls up to her. The driver takes off his sunglasses and clarifies, "Is she Mrs. Xu?" The beautiful Xu Yang confirms her name. She rejoices to herself that she has dressed up in a timely manner today. Lin Yi invites her to get into the car. The girl agrees. Xu Yang fastens his seatbelt. Xu Yang shyly greets and introduces herself to the driver. She is happy to meet him and asks where he wants to take her. She can be addressed any way she wants to be addressed. Lin clarifies, Doesn't she need to go to Jujo Hoog? Shu Yang is enraged when he finds out he's a driver from Baba. What is this new kind of cheating with a sports car? Lin says it's just a new favor. Shu Yang is upset. She thought she was able to hook up with some rich guy, but he turned out to be just an ordinary driver. Lin discovers how quickly she has changed. Shu tells Ling to drive slower so she can take proper selfies in this car. Especially in case of an accident, he will never be able to pay off this car. But Lin Yi objects, it's his car. Now Shu doesn't believe it and suspects him of just wanting to get her that way. But Lin doesn't lie. Jan starts making eyes at him again. He works as a driver and tries to appear to be someone else. Lin angrily wondered, what is this Shu Yang herself? She's clearly more honorable than Lin. He's not even worthy of being her driver. Pagani Zonda begins to accelerate sharply down the road. Shu Yang is lost and can't gather himself. After the stop, she calls him sick and asks him why he did it. If she's so tough, she can buy her own car and drive as she pleases. Lin refuses to drive her any further. The driver points his finger for her to get out. Shu Yang stands outside upset and calls him names. She says she will not only leave a bad review, but even complain to the company itself. Lin Yi heard the whole thing. He says there's a video recorder in the car that captured it all, and that's why she won't succeed. The client waved her fist at him. Lin Yi walks up to Juju Get. After that, a notification of a new review comes to his phone. Lin Yi really sees the bad review. Lin Yi gets a call from the manager of his company, Baba. He's yelling right into the phone. What happened to him? They got a complaint straight to headquarters. If it happens again, the manager will take money out of his paycheck. Lin snaps back, saying let them deduct it. The manager yells out, what's he doing, and suspends him from work. Lin Yi doesn't understand how so, to suspend without even understanding the situation. Did they think it through well? But the manager continues to be indignant and says he's suspended and hangs up. Lin Yi is feeling sick. Lin Yi walks into the large lobby of Jujoge. One of the managers greets him cheerfully, introduces himself and shakes his hand. He offers to walk with him and familiarize him with the surroundings. All furniture is made by only the best manufacturers. All upholstered furniture has been designed by renowned international designers. Lin Yi crouched down. He really likes the furniture, quite comfortable and convenient. The manager informs me that he has been matched with a personal attendant, and those who were able to pass the first stage of the interview are waiting in the office. If he's free, he can take a look now. Lin Yi agrees. He's idle right now anyway. At this time in the office, Shu Yang cries out. She points her finger at him and pokes him. The manager stops her. What is she doing? She turns to Mr. Zhou that this is the same underhanded driver who tried to give her a ride. Lin Yi asks, what is this woman doing here? Is she applying for some kind of position? Shu Yang continues to chime in. She doesn't understand what an ordinary Baba driver is doing in this establishment. Mr. Zhou slaps Shu for her tone. How dare she talk to Mr. Lin like that? He's the boss of this place. Shu is puzzled as to why she was hit. How can he be the boss if he works as a driver for Baba? She has an order on her phone. Lin Yi asks if there is a condition that prohibits being both the driver and the owner of Jujoge. Mr. Zhou replies that there is not. There is no such condition anywhere. The manager demands Shu Yang to apologize to Mr. Lin for her behavior. She still can't understand. Is this kind of hobby just means moonlighting as a cab driver? Jan apologizes and says she was just wrong. She asks to be given another chance. But Lin instructs Zhou to throw her out of the establishment. In the back, the other girls chuckle. Shu Yang is led away from the establishment by the hands. Zhou shows the 4 remaining girls he has to choose from. But Lin is not happy with any of them. He says to give each of them money for the road and let them leave. Ziqing Yan texts him on his phone. She asks him to pick her up at Zhongtan. She will place an order. Lin Yi leaves and says that he has business to attend to, so let employee Zhou choose a servant of his own choosing. He obeys and bows. At this time in Zhongtan, a former classmate asks Yan not to leave and have some more fun. The classmate cheers next to Yan while she stands slightly perplexed. Dean Yi's boyfriend says it's been so long since they've seen each other and offers to sit around some more, and then he'll drive her himself. But Qing says she's busy and has already ordered a car to take her. The classmate says that it's not safe to take a cab at this time, and that it would be better if Ding takes her. But Qing reassures her that she knows the driver. A tall, slender man walks into Juntan's lobby. It's Lin Yi, in all his glory. Tsu greets him. The others look at him in bewilderment. Lin took a liking to a classmate, and she says he could have been a star with such beauty. But Dean wasn't impressed. There was no use in it since Lin was an ordinary driver. Lin Yi responds. Ding says he's lucky to know Tsu at all. Lin Yi doesn't quite understand what's so cool about it. Dean points his finger at Lin and calls him not very smart. He's an ordinary driver, but he has such a big ego. Tsu Qing Yan is getting away from them. Yan puts his hand on Lin's chest and says that his self-esteem is really okay. But her friend says self-esteem alone won't get you far. Dean Yi just bought a new Mercedes, and a driver from Bub could never afford one. Ziqing Yan pondered. Yan tells Lin not to stoop to their level and to get away from them, since they seem to be overdrunk. He agrees. But Ding Yi intends to gloat. He thinks that Qing Yan is undeservedly protecting him, and he will show them what real wealth should look like. They all walk into the parking lot together. Dean takes out his car key. Her happy classmates show off the new white Mercedes Jeep that is gleaming. A classmate brags about how expensive it is, and Dean says it cost over $2 million, and he dreams of a Lamborghini in the future. Qing Yan recalls that during his university days, Ding Yi dreamed of a Pagani Zonda. He admits, but now this car costs $28 million. He won't be able to afford to buy it, even if he works all his life. A former classmate is dumbfounded. It seems she spots the very same Zonda just next to his Mercedes. She calls Dean over to take a look. Dean can't believe it. Lin calmly asks now Dean to step aside. Dean asks what Lin wants to look at too. He must be blinded by the costliness of it. Lin Yi pulls out the key to this Pagani Zonda car. He opens the car door and invites Tsu to get in. Those two friends of hers are just confused. How is that possible? Driver Baba, and on Pagani. Lin Yi, driving a car, asks, why can't the driver afford such a thing? And gives advice, let poverty not limit their thinking. Lin and Tsu drive away from the parking lot. They drive down a city street at night. Tsu apologizes for turning out to be such snobs. But Lin doesn't care about that. He asks where to take her, home. Lin admits that she has had some wine and would like to walk on the beach to get some fresh air. She will change her place of arrival. Lin supports this idea. It is indeed the right thing to do to get the alcohol out of the body. A system assignment appears. Lin can get 10 times 5 stars, and the reward is 100,000 skill points, 6/10. Lin estimates to himself that he will have a 7-star rating after this order. They arrive at a beautiful night beach. Tsu asks Lin to turn away from her. Lin asks why. Does she have her swimsuit with her? But Z just wants to take off her stockings to walk barefoot in the sand. But Lin is flirting. Why would he look away unless she's not wearing any underwear? Z pinches Lin hard, he's hurt. Z isn't afraid of anything like that, and Lin may not look away. But the important thing is that he doesn't look at her. Tsu takes off her see-through stockings. She puts those stockings aside. She calls Lin to walk in the sand with her. He agrees. Lin recalls that her parents keep reminding her to take Lin Yi's grandfather's birthday party with her. So could he. Lin soldiered on for her. Pretend to be her boyfriend. He agrees to it, but only because he likes her squatting. Qing Yan replies that Lin Yi has no conscience. Z notices that the lights are on in Juzhoge tonight. That's unusual. Lin asks what's the big deal. Juzhoge's real estate is very expensive, and it couldn't be sold to anyone for a very long time. This is the first time Yan has seen Juzhoge's lights on at all. Lin Yi ponders. He offers to take Tsu closer there if she doesn't mind, and they could spend the night just there tonight. Qing Yan can't believe it. She can only spend the night in Juzhoge in her dreams. But Lin wants to take her there. Tsu says she too wanted to purchase the plot through bidding, but she dropped out in the first round due to lack of funds. Lin joyfully exclaims that she is not the last person in this city, but her admiration for Juzhoge's entrance gate alone cannot be overlooked. Z doesn't understand what kind of admiration he means. She says it's just normal curiosity. She's heard that the pools there are filled with mineralized water. Lin Yi takes Qing Yan's hand. He wants to go with her together and just check it out. Yan stops him. They can only look in front of the gate. They are not allowed to go inside. What if someone notices them? Lin continues his adventure. He wants to bet what happens if he does manage to get her there. Yan replies that she will then go there to bathe in her swimsuit, and Lin will have a good opportunity to see her in it. Lin says it's definitely worth a shot. He tells her to get in the car. Zai can't believe it. Are they going to go there in a car? They enter the villa through the main gate, with servants standing in 2 rows on the sides. They greet them and bow. Yan doesn't understand, for in this place the security must be top-notch. How could they just be taken and let in like that? Lin grinned. Getting in was no problem after all. Director Z gets out of the car in high heels. She notices fruit on the trees and calls Lin to look at them. Lin says she can get them if Yan wants to try them, but she refuses. Yan stares mesmerized at that same marvelous pool. Lin at this time reminds her of her promise to bathe in it in her swimsuit. But Director Z admits that she doesn't have a swimsuit, and she doesn't even know how to swim. She didn't say that right away. Lin is slightly puzzled. He agrees, but promises to remember it. And next time she won't be able to turn him away so easily. Yan promises to keep his word, and offers to go back before they're kicked out. Lin points to the front door. How can they leave without even looking inside? Tsu says they're lucky they're already in the courtyard, but going inside would be a private invasion. Lin reveals that there is no one here, so there is no need to be afraid either. Z discourages him to go back and holds his hands. Lin leans his hand against the digital lock and is greeted by the system like a host. Qing Yan was just all blown up. The doors open and they walk in. Yan can't believe that this is really his house. Lin admits to her that he just bought it just yesterday, and he can give her a tour. Yan pounces on Lin, accusing him of having just tricked her, and he's only happy to oblige. Director Z is just thrilled. It's too beautiful for her. She wonders how much this villa cost Lin, but he doesn't know specifically, somewhere around a few billion. Yan suspects Lin of another deception on his part. After all, the most expensive villa here is worth 2 billion, not a few. Unless Lin has bought everything here. Lin takes a seat on the couch. He admits that he actually bought all the villas in these apps. Director Z can't believe it. What is he saying? How can he have that kind of money for all this? He thinks about it a bit and replies that it's pretty simple. Tsu says that he makes money so easily, which means that in Baba he must be working purely for the soul. She sits down on the sofa and notices that it is very comfortable. Lin says not to take her home already today. She can spend the night here. Yan can choose any room to rest in. She agrees, as she doesn't want to bother Lin, as long as he takes her to work tomorrow morning. Tsu asks if he has any women's pajamas for her here. He lives alone, how could he have any? He promises not to peek because sleeping naked is only good for your skin. Yan doesn't understand how it would be possible to sleep completely naked in someone else's house. Lin reassures her. He will go upstairs and try to find something suitable. Qingyan opens the shower faucet. She stands to her full height and washes under warm water. At this time, Lin is reading a book. He hears some noise and shouts to Z Qingyan. Is everything all right with her in there? Yan calls him to her. She's down! Lin quickly runs into the shower room asking how she is. Z sits on the floor of the shower room and can't get up. She looks at Lin and holds up her clothes. She twisted her foot. Qing asked Lin to help her take a shower. He has a lump in his throat. Lin Yi holds Yan up and helps her stand up. Lin Yi and Qingyan are standing very close to each other under the shower. There is tension between the two of them. They're kissing. He asks if the water is hot for Yan. She throws off her clothes completely. The two of them are enjoying themselves together, being gentle. Lin and Yan together under the shower naked. Morning comes, the birds are singing. Tsu opens the curtain. She wants to throw the blanket off Lin and get him up quickly so she won't be late for work. Lin yawns. He worked through the night and now he has to as well. How hard it is. Director Z is pushing him. If he takes her to the company, she will give him a 5-star rating. Lin agrees. Later in the afternoon at the Bandao Hotel, Lin looks at the time. He has taken Z away, but still hasn't had time to eat. He needs a refreshment before he can start a new order. Director Lin is greeted by the manager. He replies that he came here to have breakfast. The manager agrees to set aside a special place for him personally. But Lin doesn't want to stand out today. The manager is listening. Lin summons the waiter to take his order. A girl comes up to him and recognizes him. She calls him by name. Lin Yi also recognizes his former employee, Yu Lily. He's surprised that she works here now.